Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. We had a small technical problem there, and I don't quite know what it was, but we are here. It is good to see you guys. I have been in Maryland for the last couple of days, and I feel like I haven't seen you guys or connected with you very much. So I wanted to do this live stream before heading out to work. I returned late last night. Could not go to sleep initially because I slept on the plane. And so I decided to compile the list of all the folks that wanted t-shirts. So I got that sent off. I responded to a bunch of questions, comments, and stuff like that on the channel. And once that was done, I went ahead and took myself to sleep. So it is good to see you guys, but I'm here now and I'm headed to work shortly. But while I was away, a couple of boxes arrived for me. One of them is this CGC box that's sitting off to the side here that we're actually going to unbox. Another is a video or books that you guys are going to see in a video probably next week. I'm putting together what I think is a pretty cool video that you guys will probably hear more about on the Ready, Set, Go preview show this coming weekend, and that you'll ultimately see at some point next week. But a couple of those books that I was waiting on actually arrived while I was away. So I'm super pumped about that because I actually worked on that a little bit last night as well. So impromptu live stream right now. We are going to keep it very focused on this unboxing, and then I'm going to go to work, and then maybe later this week and we'll be able to jump back on here and do a little bit more of an engagement kind of discussion. So Johnny Future is here. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Brothers Graham, he says, we are live. We are indeed. Nigel, how you doing, my friend? Hydra Collectible, shout out to you, brother. Perry Comics is in the house. We're going to see what's in there in just a couple of moments. Burke Family 54 Comics, it is good to see you, brother, as always. What does this say? You can't go live now. I'll watch. I am headed to work myself. Mr. Comic 89, it's good to see you. America, how you doing, my friend? Grant is in the house. So is Jeremy. It is good to see you. Welcome, my friend. He said, made a live stream. It is good to have you. Scrolling down through the names, Omega Comics is in the house. It's good to see you, my friend. Daniel, good morning to you as well. B Comics is here. Young T, looking at your name over here on my board, brother. I got you covered over there. Scrolling down through the comments here. Get Hype SA1 says, shout out to Reggie from South Africa. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the live stream. So Jeremy's asking what field I am. I sell drugs for a living, my friend. I sell drugs and have for I think like 15 years. So I don't technically sell drugs anymore. I market drugs, but I'm in the pharmaceutical biotech space. So Geek Aficionado, how you doing? Brett Hess is in the house. All of these comic book soldiers are up in here. Yeah, I almost bought that book. Comic Tom and I had a conversation in the background as he was talking about that book. I actually almost bought it. There is still one up for sale right now on eBay. It's a little bit more than what I want to spend. I think it's like 65 bucks or something like that. So I don't know if I'm going to get that. Michael, how you doing? Quest Dog is in the house. It's good to see you. Randy Resnake, welcome. All good, brother. Catch it on the replay. It is good to see all of you guys. Derek, how you doing? Comics with Bueller. He says, don't sell drugs. No. It's don't do drugs. Selling drugs is completely acceptable, right? Don't do them, but sell them. Okay, so there you go. All right, so welcome, Bueller. It's good to see you, my friend. All right, so let's go ahead and pop this box open and see what came back. I actually have several orders in with CGC right now that are in various states of return. And so this is the first of several boxes that has actually come back from them. And so hopefully the others will be back soon. So pop this thing open. I only think a couple of these books are actually going to stay with the collection. I think most of these were actually purchased for the purpose of passing them back to somebody in the community. A couple of people have asked me, how do you make the hobby self-funding? This is one way that I do it. So let's go ahead and pop these things open and see what it is that we have inside. I think there's a couple of learning lessons inside of here. So we're definitely going to talk about some lessons learned. Did a little bit of an experiment in some cases with some of these books. So this first one is a cool book right here. This is X Factor number 5. It actually came back as a 9.2. I wanted to get this book because I didn't have X Factor 5. I have 6, and 6 is back there on the wall, but I wanted to pick up 5. Actually picked this up in a lot of 3 books for like a couple of bucks on eBay. I gave one away Oh no, maybe I sold that one at Raw. It was a newsstand, but it was a little damaged. And then I actually cleaned up this copy and sent it in. And there should be another copy in here as well. I actually cleaned both of these books, pressed both of these books myself using the various techniques that you've seen on the channel. And this one actually came back at a 9.2, which is not bad, This book definitely had some things going on. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that could not be removed. I think that's like a little bit of some ink and some stuff like that, but it is overall a nice book, and I'm very, very pleased with the 9.2 grade. One of the tricky things about white covers is that you can't really see color breaks, and they say that there's color breaks, but I'm like, I can't really see the color break on a white comic, but it's all good. It is what it is. So this next one is actually, you guys probably remember this story. I actually picked this book up from an eBay seller. The guy actually had multiple copies of this particular book. I bought several of them. I basically said, hey, if these books are really good, what you say they're going to be, I'll buy more. He was promising basically near mint. And basically what the guy was saying was that out of all the books that he had that were of this type, several of them were near mint, but that does not mean that you're going to get a near mint. And I actually talked about this in a video, and he and I went back and forth. We had an exchange about truth in advertising, and he promptly gave some of my money back, which actually made me very happy because I was able to get the books below value. And then with him acknowledging that he may have positioned them incorrectly, he actually gave more money back, which I was very appreciative of. So this is actually Eternals #2. This actually came back at an 8.0. I actually have several copies of this, as I've mentioned in previous videos. This is the first appearance of Ajax and also the Celestials. This is actually a pretty nice copy of the book. The issue with this one is that there is some staining on the back side. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that. I don't know if you, nah, you can't see that, but there's some staining on the backside that could not be removed with the cleaning. It is a newsstand, but that's part of the reason why that only came back at an 8.0. So this next one is another one of the ones I just showed you. It's another X Factor 5 book. And again, one of these is actually going to stay in the collection. I thought one of them might be more like a 9.4, but I'm still pleased with the 9.2. Both of these books came back pretty nice. I think that other one is nicer than this one. This one has a couple of noticeable spine ticks that I was unable to get out, but the other is definitely a nicer book. So, and I think it was that one that I thought was probably going to be a 9.4, but all right, so this one is actually a really cool book. This is one that I actually picked up from a member of the comic book community. Guy reached out to me who's a subscriber and was like, hey, I'm actually, picking up a copy of this book. Are you interested? I was like, yes, I am, because I was not at San Diego Comic-Con. So he hooked me up with the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. This is the last issue of The Walking Dead. It came back as a 9.8. Very, very pleased with this one. Now, what's interesting about this one is that I wasn't sure how CGC was going to handle this one. And the reason for that is because there are actually two vertical impressions on this book that could not be pressed out. They are definitely printer defects that are noticeable with the eye. And I think CGC looked at it and was like, that is a printer defect. And so they allowed this book to get a 9.8. Another great example of how printer defects are acknowledged by CGC, because I wasn't sure how this one was going to be handled. So they definitely took care of this one. So very pleased about that. All right. So we'll stack that one off to the side. Ariel, how you doing, my friend? It's good to see you, bro. This next one is one that is definitely staying in the collection. This is a cool book. This is a really cool book. You guys actually saw this book. You guys saw this one in a previous video. This is X-Men number 98. This is one that I actually pressed in another video. This one actually came back at a 7.0 off-white pages. This one is really cool. Jack Kirby, Stan Lee cameo in the last two panels, and it's also a Sentinel appearance. This is a really cool book that was definitely pleased to have this one come back. So there you go. Next book. Let's see what else we have in here. Pull this one out. Yamaha Joe, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. I have your name on the list, Yamaha Joe. This next book is another one of the Eternals books that I just showed you guys a few moments ago. This is Eternals #2. This one came back at a 9.2. Very pleased with that. Again, this was part of a lot of books that I actually picked up from a guy on eBay. One of them came back at an 8, and then that one is a 9.2. And then I have 9.6 on the wall up there. Those will definitely stay with the collection. So this is a very disappointing one. This one right here. This is a disappointing one. But here's the thing. I actually knew that it was going to be a disappointment. I didn't know how big of a disappointment it would be, but I picked this one up because people are always asking, hey, if I have this defect with my book, what grade would it get? And a lot of times I honestly don't know. I try to grade the book and try to give them some idea, but a lot of times I don't really know because I haven't sent books in with those defects. So I sent this one in knowing that it was defective. And this is part of the reason why I was able to get my money back on some of my money back on those Eternals books. This is Eternals #2, came back at a 4.0. And you might look at this book and you might be like, well, hey, that's actually not a bad looking book, because it is not a bad looking book. I mean, the back side of it is also pretty darn nice, but what you might not be able to see, no, you can't see, there are actually some slashes in this book. When at some point somebody was using a box cutter or something like that, they had a couple of slashes that came right through the book. And so this Eternals #2 was awarded a 4.0 because of those slashes. The book is complete. No pieces are missing, but there are actually several slash marks that go right through the book. Well, sorry, let me restate, go right through the cover of the book. They don't even go all the way through, but great example of how a book can be impacted by not printer defects that are human imposed defects. And I think I have, I think there's like four more books. Let's see what these are. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this is a cool one. So shout out to Matt, aka Thanatos. Matt and I used to do some live streams and stuff like that early on, and he always used to get on my back because I didn't have any DC books on the wall, and so he sent me what is a book that is very reminiscent of him and his channel, that also was a DC book. And so the book was sent to me raw, and I basically put it up on the wall at one point. I was like, I'm going to put it up there again. I'm going to put that up again, and I'm going to have it graded. I took it down. I was like, I'm going to have it graded, and I'm actually going to put it up on the wall. So this book is going on the wall. Shout out to Matt for hooking me up with this one. Dim Legs, Zatanna, #16. This is the last issue of Zatanna. Awesome cover right here. It actually came back at a 9.6. This is another book that I actually pressed myself here in the room, and it came back at a pretty nice grade. So I'm definitely pleased with this one. So shout out. There we go. We're going to have some DC on the wall here. Greg, how you doing, brother? JD is like, Dim Legs. It was sitting in a box like forever. And with this last shipment, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and press this book. I'm going to send this thing in. And they went ahead and hooked it up. So scrolling down, need to get my wife. We need to get that. My wife wants it. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. If she wants it, hook her up. Is that all the graders notes? No, I haven't looked at the graders notes. There's some other comments in there. There's other defects that are going on with that book. That book was never, Geek is asking about the Eternals #2 4.0. No, there's other defects that are going on with that book. It was pressed. It was cleaned. It looks pretty good, but there are still these slashes in the back that they had to acknowledge. So Juvenile, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream, my friend. Tony Trombetta, EGS. Remember when you got them legs? Tio, how you doing, brother? What is this? But what's with the Vampirella CGC? You need one to go with the long. I actually don't have any Vampirella. No, I don't have a single Vampirella. Chris Bigger, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Glitter and Duct Tape, how you doing? Tater says, I finally joined the Gibbon gang this week. I could not pick one up. That's what's up. Tater, welcome to the Gibbon gang. If you were on Instagram, make sure you tag me, my friend, so that I can give you a shout out in the story there. So let's see what else we have in this box. What is this one? Oh, this is a cool one. This is a cool book. I actually picked this one up when I was doing a lot of those, first appearances, early appearances of X-Men characters and stuff like that. I picked this one up. This is Miss Marvel number 17, came back in an 8.0. This was a book, again, that I picked up raw off of eBay, cleaned it, pressed it, sent it in, came back. This is when Mystique actually has a cameo as Nick Fury. This one came back again as an 8.0. It is a newsstand. Definitely a cool book. Cool book to have in the collection. I think it's what, 16, 17, 18, I think is where like Mystique has her early appearances. So I wanted to kind of get those and have them in the collection. So this is another book that, again, as a duplicate, it will find its way back to the community. This is another Eternals number 2, first appearance of Ajax and also the Celestials. Another cool book here that was cleaned and pressed here in the room. It does have a little bit of some staining on the back side here, just like small stuff. But it is a pretty nice and clean book. So we'll stack that one up. So there was a lot of duplicity, as you guys could see in this one, definitely with the Eternals and certainly with the X Factor number 5, a little bit of duplicity. And speaking of duplicity, here is the last book. And this one is another Eternals book. This one actually came back at an 8.5. So I have a 4, an 8, an 8.5, and then a couple of 9.2s. So not too bad from CGC. Definitely not too bad from what I picked up off of eBay. So somebody asked a question earlier. I saw for briefly about off-centered books. So I don't know that an off-center book is something that's going to hurt the grade, because that, again, is, if you think about it, the printing process is not a perfect process. And so to that point, I think that grading companies have some allowances for the fact that printing is not a perfect process. So while an off-center cover, miswrap, underwrap, that kind of thing will not affect the grade, it could affect the desirability of that particular book by some collectors, right? It is not necessarily affecting the grade, but it might affect who wants to buy that book at the particular grade that it has on its label, or if you're selling it raw, it could affect that. So there are some people that don't like miswraps, overwraps, off centers. They want perfect books. It is about preference. It really is about preference. So what is this? Regie, does Spidey 111 count to be? It does not. No, it does not. It's Amazing Spider-Man 110. That, yeah, you got it. Gibbon Gang is about 110. We'll give you honorary. We'll put you on the junior team. You can be JV. You'll be JV with ASM 111. Matt was on it. Matt was like, nah, bro, you got to be 110 to be Gibbon Gang. You guys are awesome. Mr. Gorell have a 2.0 and a 3.0 and a couple of 1s. So he's close. Very good. Very good. Luis, how you doing? It's good to see you. We are not on the road to AF15. We actually put that on pause, and we put it on pause because what I realized is that it's really tough to have 2 BHAGs. I don't know if you guys know what a BHAG is. It is a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's a book I read a while ago. You want to have a BHAG, right? And it's really tough to have 2 BHAGs. And so to try to complete ASM, a run of ASM at the same time as getting AF15, those are 2 BHAGs that are out there that are pretty tough, right? And so what I did is I actually put AF15 on the back burner so that I could really focus on Amazing Spider-Man, that full run. And I have made a tremendous amount of progress. I'm probably going to have a video coming out. There may be one update this week. I'm not sure. It may be today that there's an update. I have another update for you guys next week. And then I will tell you that a member of the comic book community just hooked me up big time with a local comic shop in their part of the country that had a ton of books for sale. They reached out to me. They negotiated a deal on my behalf, and I actually just got a huge stack of books that are like in the 400s and 500s that I did not have for the collection. So we are making a ton of progress, not just on 1 through 261, which is almost done, but a lot of progress on 262 through 801. A lot of progress is being made. You guys just don't see that on the channel because no one cares about issue number, 501. No one cares about issue 501. They want to know about the low numbers, but that is definitely moving forward. So if you are on a budget, you pick several new books or a good oldie. So it depends. It depends. My budget, Tio, is really driven by my comic book fund. You know what I'm saying? So books come in like these. These books were all basically, for the most part, purchased for the purpose of selling. Once they are sold, I will then use that money to actually go buy some new comic book day comics, but then also continue working towards completing my run of Amazing Spider-Man. So it is like, you know, books in, books out, cash in, cash out. That is basically the way that it works. And, you know, Jim Mint, somebody alerted me to this. Jim Mint actually posted up a video. He's one of the early guys I started watching on YouTube. He posted up a video and I was in the middle of watching it before going live, where he's talking about the hobby should be self-funding. And a couple of people have asked me about that. And I agree. If you can make it self-funding, it is definitely a good way to go. And so part of the way that I do that is by buying books for the purpose of resale. That is a very, very easy way to do it. And so, you know, I buy books that I absolutely love and they stay in the collection, but they were purchased for the purpose of staying in the collection. There are others that are purchased when I buy a collection where I take out what I want for the collection. Everything else, you know, moves on to another home. And what's great about it is that I get the books for a fair price. I sell them for a fair price. The buyer is happy. And as the seller, I too am happy. So that's kind of how it works. Chris Bigger's like 111 sits at the kids' table. No doubt. Oh yeah. AF15 all day. All day. Jeff Comic 813. How you doing, brother? Los is in the house. It's good to see you, brother. Scrolling down through the Rios is saying, yes, ask because you mentioned your book's printing issue. Got an education. Yeah. So that's the thing is there is a video on the channel where I actually talk about printer defects, right? Again, the printing process is not a perfect process. And so there are all kinds of defects. And so what someone has to ask themselves is, was this a defect that was made by the mishandling of a comic? Or was this defect actually created, if you will, as part of the printing process? So a staple that's not quite in the right place, printer defect. A replaced staple, man-made. An off-center cover, overwrap, underwrap, a miscut. Many of those things are attributable to the printing process, but with like a miscut, for example, you might have to look to see if the book was trimmed. So that's an important thing where it could go from, is it a printer defect or is it a man-made type of imposed defect where someone's trying to skirt the system? And so it's just important to make that distinction as best you can. Is, was it part of the printing process? Bindery tears, known effect of modern printing process, right? It is all part of it. The little holes that go at the inside of like Bronze Age books, down at the bottom, there's those little dots and holes in the paper, part of the printing process. That will not affect the grade. Could some of the aforementioned things affect the desirability and how much someone is willing to pay? Absolutely, but not necessarily the grade. So scrolling down through some of the comments here. Greg, you're a nut. Yeah, brother. I am a cup and a half into this morning. So I've been up since 6. So I've been hitting the coffee. I've had breakfast. So I am all fired up. So get some caffeine in you, brother. You have to stay tuned to the videos, my friend, to see what is missing from that. Cause I don't want to preempt myself. I don't want to preempt my own videos, but I will tell you that the number is small. The number is small. Michael says he's only missing 1 through 9 and 14. Good luck on the hunt, my friend. Those are all very, very good books, as you know, as is, you know, everything in that, you know, 261 and below, certainly 200 and below are all really great books. So good luck to you in being able to hunt those books down for an affordable price and in a shape condition that makes you happy. So scrolling down, Man Bat is in the house. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Shirtless Bear Fighter #1 to be in Shirtless Bear Fighter League. No one wants to be a shirtless bear fighter. Okay. No one. There's this whole thing going on Instagram. If you guys don't know about this, there is the Shirtless Bear Fighter group, which is like one person, because that's, you know, just one person. And then there's the man wolf. It's something man wolf package, man package, man pack. Yeah, something like that. It's mostly inappropriate. that is being led by John's Comics with Kids. And then there's, of course, the Gibbon Gang, which people have tried to attribute to other YouTubers, not recognizing that it all started here on this channel with you guys. So scrolling down, Steve, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. So he said, Matt's asking if the shirts are going to be shipped out before October. So the order literally went in last night. My guess is that she is going to start printing those shirts within the next few days. I will then go pick them up, and my goal is to get them shipped out ASAP. So what I would say is the likelihood that you will have it shipped before October is very high. It is very high. Definitively, I don't know just yet because I can't control her production cycle, but I sent the order in last night. She confirmed receipt this morning around 7 o'clock. And so I was like, yo, so I need you to keep me posted on the production process because I want to have answers before people start asking questions. And so I've put the fire to her. And if I don't hear from her in 2 days, I'm going to send her another message and be like, yo, what is going on with these shirts? So stay tuned, Matt. And again, I want to thank you, brother, for picking up one of those Reggie Collects Gibbon Gang t-shirts. So did you collect when you were growing up? Yes, I actually collected back in the 90s from about 91-ish to kind of sort of 94 when I graduated. I dipped back in the early 2000s, like 2005, 2006, and then was out again until the end of 2017 into 2018. So scrolling down, Christopher, how you doing? He said, managed to get a free period in school, so now he can watch the live stream. Well, welcome to the live stream, brother. I hope that you're enjoying it. We actually already showed all the books. I may run through it one more time so you guys can see it, but you definitely want to go back and watch the replay so that you guys can see and hear all of the context for the stuff that I'm actually dropping. So let me see. Let me see. Scrolling down through the comments here. Brian says his Savage She-Hulk #1 was slabbed off center inside the casing at CGC. Really odd to see it. You may want to try to tap it on the other side to get it back, in position, because imagine that it probably wasn't slabbed that way, but you have to imagine what happens with UPS and FedEx and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So these slabs are definitely not indestructible and have the potential to be shifted around by mishandling, whether it be dropped, thrown, kicked, booted, punted by one of our wonderful package carrier services out there. So you definitely want to try to see if you can tap it back. I've actually encountered that with not just CGC, but other companies that have produced slabs for me, and tapping it sometimes is able to pop it back into position. Here you go. Johnny Future's like, buy and sell to work your way up. It is one of the approaches. It really is. Hydra is like, my collection has been self-funding for the last 5 years. Again, if you can find, and I think the magic with self-funding is that you have to have the ability to let things go, right? And no one can tell you that you should let things go. I remember people used to tell me, you're too attached to your books. You're correct. I'm too attached to my books, right? It is my collection. They are my books. If I want to keep them, I will keep them. And so you can't tell somebody that they shouldn't be too attached to their books. What I will say is that if you want the hobby to be self-funding, you have to be willing to let books go. And so what I would say to you is never let go. And this is me talking about my collection. I never let something go that I actually really, really like, unless I have multiples of it, unless I have just, purchased one and it's en route and I'm like, okay, I can let go of that one. Like I did that with Amazing Spider-Man 6. I had the Amazing Spider-Man 6 low number ASM for a while, and I purchased another. While it was en route to me, I sold the other. I sold the one that I had because I knew that this other was coming, and I had already inspected it, so I already knew the quality of the book. So it wasn't like a foreign to me. I literally held the book in my hands and then purchased it a couple of days after that. So you have to be willing to let things go, and I think the other part of it is, for me, is I buy books with the purpose of selling them. So I never, ever get attached to them. And if I'm attached to a book, I just don't sell it. It's just not worth it. The angst that comes with selling something that you really love or that you really want or that you think you might regret, the angst associated with that, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, So scrolling down through the comments here, but Reggie, didn't you have an X-Men slab on sale from your wall because you upgraded? I did. Yeah. So this, The X-Men back there, top row, I can't even, I think it's 129, actually had a 7.5 in the collection, and I actually sold, I don't know if I sold it. It might still be for sale. I can't remember. But I upgraded from a 7.5 that I purchased at the beginning of 2018 as part of a large lot and got slabs, sold it while I upgraded to that 9.6 back there. And I definitely don't regret it. Don't regret its first Kitty Pride and some other stuff. So scrolling down, Joa, thank you for stopping through, brother. I definitely appreciate it. Here, Alex is saying he saw that vid by Jim Mint also and working on pulling out of the collection and what he's willing to sell. Again, there you go. It's all about what do you want to give up, you know? And Jim Mint, he moves in and out of statues and omnibuses and individual single copies very fluidly, and that works for him, you know. And if it works for you, then do that thing, you know. Nicholas, all the way from France, how you doing, my friend? It is good to see you. Welcome to the live stream. I have no clue what time it is over there, but I definitely appreciate you hanging out with me just for a little bit. Here, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. This Chris Bigger's asking this question about the J.J. Abrams and his son. I was actually not going to get this book. I still technically haven't bought it. But I had several people when the book dropped on New Comic Book Day send me messages, and they were like, bro, I think you're going to like this book. Bro, I think you should read this book. I know you said you weren't going to read it, but you might want to read it. So I actually read it online. It actually wasn't bad. It actually was not bad. And I think that this is one of those things where, you know, I am resistant to something, but I'm also willing to hear other people's point of view. And so when people are like, yo, this is actually not a bad book, I'm like, okay, well, let me look into it, right? I'm a Spider-Man fan, right? So I looked into it. I read it. It actually wasn't bad. And at the same time, my comic shop reached out to me and said, Reg, we have this one, I think it's one per store variant. Do you want it? I just read the issue. People are like, yo, it's good. I'm like, Can you set that aside for me? So I have a one per store variant that has been set aside for me right now that I will actually pick up from a comic shop probably this weekend. So there you go. A couple of questions here. How did you ship your CGC books to get graded? Would you get anything graded from 328 to 400? So what I will say is that there are various methods to shipping books to CGC. I actually have some of them on the channel, at least one of them on the channel. I'm actually thinking about doing another video that shows how to ship boxes or books to CGC using a CGC box. I actually did a tutorial on it very quickly on Instagram about a month ago, but I may actually put up an enduring piece on the channel that actually talks about this. So stay tuned for that. But there are various methods by which you can do this. You can create bricks. You can use, what I'm actually going to be showing, which is Gemini shippers to send books back. Typically, whatever method, whether it's brick or something else, everything is always shipped on like a Monday or a Tuesday, sometimes a Wednesday, but mostly on a Monday or a Tuesday via FedEx, always as fast as possible, right? And my theory is I don't want my books sitting somewhere over the weekend in some, terminal somewhere in the country. I always ship them early in the week and always ship them as fast as possible, and always require a signature because for insurance purposes, because I have collectible insurance, a signature is always required. So would I slab anything between 328 and 400? Off the top of my head, I would say 361 is probably the only thing, but I don't know all of those books by memory, right? So there is not every book. Let me say this. Not every book should be graded. Not every book should be graded. Some books are perfectly fine in poly bags and or Mylar and or top loaders, whatever your preference is. Not every book should be graded based upon the condition and based upon the cost of getting books clean, pressed, and slabbed. It's expensive. So not every book should be done, but 361 is readily one that comes to mind. But Greg, if you want to chop up if you want to chop it up more about this, just reach out to me on Instagram and we can definitely have a conversation about that. All right. So scrolling down through some of the comments, here we go. JD is basically co-signing. There you go. He's co-signing exactly what I said. It might not affect the grade, but it could affect the desirability and also what someone is willing to pay for that particular book. Because if I can get one that's perfectly centered with no white versus one that's off center with some white, then you know, and like back there, I have, what is it? X-Men 101. I picked the book up for an affordable price from a fellow collector who needed to sell it. I bought it. And one of the things that bothers me is that it has a lot of white on the left side. It just bothers me, but the price was really, really good. And so I decided to pull the trigger. But whenever I look at that book, that is one thing that I notice is the extra white, and it bothers me, but it's still a really great book that I'm happy to have in the collection. So scrolling down through some of the comments here. Is there a way to check status of CGC submissions without seeing grades? Yes, there is a way. You can actually log into the app and you can actually see where your book is in the process. And if you follow me on Instagram, if you log in and look at my story, you can actually see what that looks like. They actually don't tell you the grade, but they will tell you like if the book has been scheduled for grading, is in the process of grading, has been QC'd, or has been shipped. So you don't have to see the grades if you do not want them. But I would say is if you are going to send some books in and sign up for CGC, try to use the affiliate link in the description of my video, because they give me a couple of bucks, which go towards me getting books slabbed and creating new content for you guys. So there you go. Scrolling down through some of the comments here. I am actually going to scroll down really quickly. I'm actually going to probably run out of here because I do need to get myself to work. Greg, you are very welcome, my friend. So let me run through these books one more time so you guys don't have to sit through. Do I like any underground comics? No, I'm a Marvel guy. Marvel. All right, so let me show you guys. Let me show you guys some of the books, and then I'm going to go ahead and get myself out of here. Hey, Modern Sage Comics is asking about t-shirts. So the order has already gone in. And as I mentioned, I actually ordered a couple of extra shirts. Two of those shirts have already sold this morning from other people. But what I have on hand, what I will be getting, I should say, are 2 extra mediums, 3 extra larges, now 3 extra large. And I have 1 double XL that is on hand. So the medium through extra large are $25. The double XL is actually $26.50 if memory serves. So my point is, it's not too late. If you send the money over to RegieCollects@gmail.com with your size needed, your name, your contact information, all that kind of stuff, then I can definitely mark you down off my list over here. But again, I only have basically, what is that? 6, 7, 8, 9 extra shirts. All of the others have already been accounted for. So there you go. And Modern Sage, if you want to talk more, just hit me up. And the email address is REGIECollects@gmail.com. So, all right. So let me run through these books one more time, and then I got to get myself out of here and got to get to work. So these are many of the books that are actually going to stay in the collection, at least these first couple. This is X-Men number 98, came back at a 7.0. Really cool book. Here is Dim Legs, aka Zatanna number 16, the last issue. This was a gift for my buddy Matt Thanatos, and so this is definitely staying in the collection. Here is Miss Marvel number 17, a cameo appearance by Mystique as Nick Fury. Here is a really cool book. I don't know if I'll keep this one. I don't know. We'll see. This is The Walking Dead number 193. This is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive variant that a subscriber sold me, and then I was able to send off and get slabbed. I think I pressed that one too. This is X Factor number 5, came back at a 9.2. Definitely a really cool book right here. So those will probably all stay with the collection. This next stack will probably not stay with the collection. A lot of them are Eternals number 2s. There is an 8.0 in here. There is a very lowly 4.0 that I explain elsewhere in the video. There's a 9.2 Eternals number 2. There is an 8.5, and then there's another a 9.2. All of these are newsstand versions, so those will all actually be sold off. All of them will actually be sold for the FMV price on Go Collect. So if you're curious about what I'm going to sell them for, if you look at Go Collect, you will know exactly what the price is. And then the last one is this X Factor number 5, 9.2. This is also one that is going to be sold. So there you go. I'm going to wrap this thing up. I am actually going to try to jump back on here. I don't know if it'll be today or tonight, I should say, or Saturday, but I do have an interest in chatting with you guys some more when I have a little more time. So definitely stay tuned for that. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this live stream. And if you need to chat, feel free to reach out to me at Reggie Collects on Instagram and RegieCollects@gmail.com. RegieCollects.com. Take care.